One of the late winter jobs is to get rid of all the rubbish, the garden rubbish in a bonfire. I had a monumental pile of grass here, so I've scattered it about to dry it. It was wringing wet through. And hedge cuttings, which are all compacted and wet. So it's smoulder away there, and it'll smoulder away for days on end. So I need to look for a wind from the northerly direction, otherwise it blows into all the neighbours' houses, which is not very good. Lots of honeybees on the rosemary. A bit of bonus for them at this time of year because the dandelions aren't fully out yet. It's a slightly darker bee from a different colony. There we are, within 2 days the greengage is in full flower and lots of insects on it, which is nice. 29th of March. Well, it's the 5th of April and usually a white fritillary. A beautiful thing. It's very unlike the more usual snake's head fritillary. Of course, April is the month for the dandelions. They're an absolutely glorious flower. It's just a great shame it's such a nuisance in the garden. Big long roots they've got. In some meadows you get tens of thousands of them. It's an absolutely glorious display. It's Monday the 8th of April and it's a sort of cold, dreary sort of day, although it's not raining, but the wind is from the east. The temperature is about 6 degrees Celsius. That's the potato plot. I rotivated all that organic stuff in. And I've just noticed that the asparagus is beginning to appear. And the garden bonfire and rubbish is all gone, and I've rotivated also some wildflower seeds in here, I think. Make a nice splash of colour. Well, flower seeds, not necessarily wildflowers. But, and the glycophosphate has done its job, so I've rotivated this for the first time for this wildflower seeds, which I tried last year without much success because of the drought, I suspect. But anyway, I'll rotivate it again before I sow the seeds, but they won't be sown until next month. So today I'll put the onions in. These are the ones I usually use stew on. They make a nice size onion, not too big, not too small, and they keep. I've still got a few from last year. That's the job of the day, cheap enough. So I've just put a line out, I'll just space them about a foot apart, maybe 18 inches apart. And if I sow a couple of rows, then that'll be more than enough for me. So there they are, onion sets, like little onions. And just check that they're quite firm, not soggy. Sometimes in storage they go quite soggy. You can grow them from seeds, but if you do grow them from seeds, then normally you have to start them in the autumn of the previous year. So onion sets are much easier. Well, that's it for today. It's cold. The wind's straight from Scandinavia across the North Sea. Anyhow, I put 3 rows in, that'll do. I'll go in and have a bacon butty and a cup of tea. And these are lily of the valley. They're a lovely plant, but they spread under the ground with rhizomes. But they are beautiful and they have a lovely scent. It's the 10th of April and the plum blossom is out, but still it's cold east wind, and I've seen the odd honeybee, but hopefully there'll be a few more, otherwise we won't get any plums. It looks idyllic with that blue sky behind, but the temperature's only 8 degrees. Oh, there's a bumblebee. They don't mind the cold quite as much as honeybees and other insects. But there's a mason bee there, a little furry mason bee. There's a queen wasp on the maple flowers. We tend to think of those being carnivores. There's a hoverfly. There's a lovely thrush having a... There's some lovely violets. But the cowslips are just beginning to show on this 13th of April. They look like an avon of some kind. A wood avon. It's April 19th, Good Friday. It's a beautiful day, 20 degrees, not a breath of wind, hardly a cloud in the sky. The pear blossom has finally opened up. An awful lot of blossom, but you don't get many pears. It's only a young tree. And the rosemary continues to bloom. It's covered in bees. And mainly honeybees, but I don't know who has honeybees in this area. A lovely black bee. Very English. Busy, 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 non-stop. And the flowers on the bay tree have also opened up. The fritillaries have just about finished now. Cowslips aren't at their best yet. This is a lawn which I just leave to grow. I don't cut it at all until the back end, till autumn. Yeah, asparagus is beginning to come through in quite large numbers. It looks quite small. I suspect it's because it's been so dry. Nevertheless, I'll come and pick some later. First of the season. And the silver birch have produced catkins. Give off masses of pollen and just flick it, see what happens. Which of course, if you're a hay fever sufferer, it's not very good. Tons of the stuff. Well, this afternoon I'm going to put the potatoes in. It's a little bit early, but I notice the farmers have been putting theirs in. While the soil is nice and dry and warm. The problem is that we sometimes get frost, ground frost in May, which burns the tops. I mean, they recover, but it's not a particularly good start, so I'll just have to keep my eye on that. If we're going to get a frost, I'll just have to cover them up with a pot, which is not too difficult. Peacock and butterfly just going whizzing past. So I've got two types of potato. These are the pink Desirees, which I normally grow, and these are King Edwards, a white potato, our main crop. Very famous. I mean, there are downsides to it. It's not quite as resistant as to blight as more modern varieties such as Cara. Anyway, it's a lovely day. We'll get them put in and take our chances with the frost. I mean, normally you dig a trench and you fill it full of well rotted manure and then cover them over. I just make a hole and drop one in. Plant them about 18 inches apart, and similarly the rows, they want to be about 18 inches apart. Doesn't have to be accurate, but that'll do. See how they're chitted. And just put new shoots on the top. Well, that's them all ready to stick in the ground. That little bit at the end there, I'll grow some beans and maybe some courgettes on there, and that'll be it. I don't grow brassicas now, they're too much trouble. Pigeons eat them, caterpillars eat them, and they're cheap in the shops and nice, so there's no point growing cabbages or even worse, cauliflowers. I used to grow purple sprouting broccoli, but you have to net it, otherwise the pigeons eat it in the winter time. Anyway, let's get these put in. Well, that's them all safely tucked underground. Hopefully we won't get a frost to burn the tops. If you fit, lots of people, once the leaves first appear, they take soil from the middle of the rows and earth them up. In other words, cover the leaves with soil. I mean, they might even do that a couple of times. And that protects them from the frost. It also means that the new tubers are less likely to come into contact with the light, which turns them green, of course. But I can't be bothered. I get what I get. Last year the potatoes were a disaster because of the drought. Potatoes are big consumers of water, especially when they're flowering, because that's when they're beginning to produce their new tubers, and they need masses of water. And I should have watered them, but I didn't. Anyway, hopefully for better things this year. There's an orange tip butterfly on a fritillary, which is flower head has died off. Unfortunately, it's got its wings closed. Right, as you can see the orange tip there. It's one of the very first butterflies to appear at this time of year, which hasn't overwintered. It's obviously emerged from a chrysalis. And you only see them in April and May. After that they disappear. So there you can see the underside and the top side quite well. I suspect if I move round it'll fly off. What a beautiful thing. Well, we've had a couple of days of really warm weather, and the asparagus is shooting up everywhere. It looks like it's suffering from a sort of lack of water. And this is the first of the asparagus. There's a lot to shout about. It'll be very tasty. That's what it always is. You can boil it in salty water until it's soft. It doesn't take very long. Well, that's it done. Slather it with a bit of butter, some salt, and just eat with a nice chunk of bread. Lovely. Well, the dandelions are flat out now. With 3 glorious days, and they're everywhere. A wonderful display they put on. That's sort of orange centre. Amazing display of dandelions in my neighbour's paddock. It's the end of April and the apple blossom is out. The cowslips still putting on a wonderful display. Isn't that just lovely? You can see how the cowslips like growing on the shorter grass on the path. Unfortunately, when I come to cut the path, they all get a chop. Anyway, I'll just leave them for a couple more weeks before I cut the paths. Dandelions are just wonderful. There have been lots of birds today down on here for a little bath. This is a starling. A moment ago there was a... oh, it's gone. A moment ago there was a cock chaffinch, and then before that there were a couple of goldfinches and a tree sparrow. They don't stay there very long. I suspect they feel quite vulnerable. The sparrow's gone ballistic. You can't keep up with it. Well, I've acquired a couple of beehives here. They aren't mine. The people who have them want to move them. About 200 yards. When you move them, it has to be a 2-stage process. If you just move them the 200 yards, then when the foraging bees return, they go back to the old place because the beehive's not there. So you have to move them at least 4 miles away as the crow flies, leave them for a few days, and then take them back to their new position. So these bees are here for a couple of weeks, and then they'll go back to their new place. But they're busy, 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 and it's not terribly warm. But of course it's the oilseed rape season, so they're absolutely hammering this rape and hammering the dandelions. I'll sneak around the back and have a look in a minute and see if I can see what they're taking in. That top half shows all the signs it's going to swarm. Lots of bees on the flight board, fanning away. I think they calm down a little bit now. Whereas the this lot is busy working. That top lot. Apparently a bit nasty. I don't want to get stung. Well, they've calmed down now. They're beginning to work. Earlier on there were very few whizzing in and out. You can see their yellow pollen going in, And very occasionally a bee carrying some orange. The orange is from, there's some yellow going in there. This is oilseed rape, there's another one going in. They're obviously hammering the rape. Oh, yeah, busy, busy, busy now. For every now and then you get a bee carrying, as I say, this orange pollen, which is from the dandelions. But they do like oilseed rape, there's no two ways about it, but it's not ideal. Almost tumbling over one another. See that one there with yellow on its head, where it's been working the oilseed rape. It's a slightly, it's not bright yellow, that one there, but definitely, I don't know what that is. The rape pollen is definitely a very bright yellow. You can see them going in, lots of them with it. There's one, two. There's some orange just gone in there from a dandelion, just on the right. Another one just gone in there. So it's quite interesting to find out what they're working on. I mean, you can buy charts with pollen colours on, so you know what they're on, but these are just absolutely hammering this rape. Yep, one's showing an interest in me there. Can do without that. Anyway, time to go. And above the garden is a buzzard. They must have tremendous eyesight to see from that height.